In today's live stream video, I'm going to discuss news and current events that affects us as resellers. Every Wednesday, I have a live stream about reselling, and I usually interview another reseller and I have them share their tips, tricks, and techniques to make us more profitable and successful resellers. So if you're a reseller, then you are in the right place. I'm going to pop in the chat and say hello to a few people in the chat, and then we shall get started very shortly. For those of you that have read the thumbnail, you'll see today's show is again, like I said in the announcement, about news and current events. I just want to share with you people. I'm always looking for other resellers to join me, so if you are available, that would be a great help to me. Some of you, go in different networks. I always talk about networking, and you watch other reselling shows, so maybe you know someone that's very interesting or interested in becoming, bigger on YouTube or talking about reselling. So if you could pass their information along to me or have them contact me, that would be a great help. So anyway, I can say hello to a few people. I saw Randy was in the chat earlier. Randy, thank you, my friend, for being here and helping out. Always good to see you, Bobby, the Kept Guy, and JT. Lisa C, always good to see you here. Thank you so much for being here. So like I said, guys, I'm going to discuss some of these articles. They're eBay, they're Etsy, they're post office, the whole kit and caboodle, so to speak. So again, those of you that are regulars on my channel, please feel free to chat amongst yourselves about reselling. Again, I try to bring you people together and have a safe place where we can talk about reselling and share information. Again, I also have a Facebook group that's free. I'm trying to grow that a little bit too. So I like that as well, to have you people available in there to share information. Maybe you have questions about what something's worth, or you have questions about sourcing or whatever. You can share and discuss things amongst each other. So anyway, if you do have a question for me, if you can put a capital Q in front of it, that would be help. Okay, so let's get started on the news portion of our show, as I like to say. eBay to refund sellers for overbilling issue affecting stores. eBay sellers were flummoxed after they lost thousands of free listings in select categories on August 1st. Sellers were left wondering if eBay had decided to end the promotional perk for stores without notice, or if it was a glitch. And they reported eBay customer service reps were offering unsatisfactory answers when they inquired about what was essentially a problem of overbilling. An initial post from an eBay moderator who responded in the thread about the problem was not reassuring. Since some people have it and some don't, my assumption is that the promo ended, as some others have noted here. Promotions vary and are provided to different groups of people at different times. Having said that, I'll reach out to the tech team to be on the safe side, and I'll let you know what I find. The matter was urgent for sellers, since the listings they would normally see as free under a long-running promotion were being counted against the number of their free listings that come with a store subscription. The moderator returned 2 days later to confirm that it was a glitch. I've heard back that we were able to find an issue on August 1st where some sellers did not get the benefit of select category free insertions. This was an issue and not a sign of things to come. The moderator said eBay was proactively crediting sellers, and she said they would be checking again towards the end of the month for any sellers who had activity on August 1st in select categories, but incurred insertion fees in any category later in the month as a result of the issue. Okay, guys, this is another article about eBay. This happened last month. As you know, I occasionally call eBay Glitch Bay. So here we go. How to scare an eBay seller. Free shipping display glitch. eBay found how to scare sellers. Display free shipping on their listings when they don't offer it. Such a scenario played out on the app on Friday, but luckily for sellers, it appears to be a glitch that only impacts items that have already sold and for which eBay had already collected shipping charges from the buyers. A seller who reached out to the e-commerce blog wrote, "On the mobile app it shows that all orders sold with free shipping. I about had a heart attack when I noticed it. I checked my orders and saw the buyers had paid shipping. Do you know if the app is glitching?" Panic sellers also discussed the problem in a thread on the eBay boards titled, "Free Shipping When I Don't Offer It." The thread was started on Friday morning on the technical issues board, but no eBay moderators had responded as of Sunday afternoon. eBay free shipping glitches are not unprecedented. In a roundup of glitches posted at the top of the eBay technical issues board on Sunday, eBay listed numerous ongoing issues. Among those displaying as not yet resolved were offer sent by seller is showing incorrect amount to buyers. That was July 23rd. Sellers are reporting when printing shipping labels suddenly print incorrect, and they always show sideways. That was July 25th. Okay, so like I said, guys, I occasionally call eBay Glitch Bay, and I have issues. Randy and I talk offline, and Randy has made me aware of a lot of the issues he has, and Randy is a pretty uh, large business, including his eBay business, his reselling business, but also his wholesale business. But he continually has problems with eBay, and I guess the best we can hope for is that eBay will solve some of these problems. Sometimes I feel like we're holding our breath, but anyway, it is what it is. Harry, good to see you, my friend. Thanks for stopping by. Kristen, always good to see you. Jennifer, good to see you. And Michelle, thank you for being here. So I actually have another eBay article. As you guys know, I sell predominantly on eBay. I do want to grow my business, but due to some health issues, I haven't been able to grow it to where I want to. So, but I am growing it, slightly. My goal is to set some goals, and I had talked about this many moons ago about having a little, like a wet dry chalkboard, and writing goals on there. How many listings you want to have. Maybe put set a goal. Let's just say, make it easier for me. Let's say it's 10. So you put 10, and you register how many listings you got for that day, and then you can put dollar amounts or whatever you want to do. So. You can pick up a dry eraser board at I call it $1.25 tree, because it's not Dollar Tree anymore. But you can pick them up there, or pick them up at some of the other stores. But I'm going to try doing that and see what I can do. Jules, always good to see you. It's funny you're in the chat. I'm so glad to see you. I saw you in some of the other chats. I was thinking I haven't seen Jules for a while, so I appreciate you stopping by. Always good to see you. Okay, guys. So we have another article coming up about eBay. Here's actually an issue with feedback, and obviously that affects everyone here that sells on the eBay platform. eBay springs feedback surprise on sellers. eBay made changes to how users leave feedback, but there was no mention of the change in the latest seller update, nor did eBay announce a new feature when it launched late last week. On Friday, an eBay moderator confirmed in a thread on the discussion boards that the seller described this new feedback flow that he encountered was an intentional change, not a glitch. The old format had all of my pre-typed feedback available, the seller wrote in part. The first time I saw this and clicked on positive button, I got a canned eBay feedback in a window, and it was not able to change it. And what it said was not what I had ever would have typed. Unacceptable, the seller included screenshots of the changes. The eBay moderator responded, "You should still have the option to use your pre-filled feedback by accessing your feedback history and clicking on feedback link on the bottom of the page." But the seller, a frequent commenter on the eBay boards who goes by the user ID Mr. Lincoln, said that as they had explained in the initial post, that would add extra steps to the process of leaving feedback for their buyers. I do not want to go through extra steps of going back to my feedback history to leave multiple feedbacks when I can do them at one time when I print labels. The new flow provides generic pre-filled comments, which one seller called ludicrous. The pre-filled comments have nothing to do with actual transactions, and it's difficult for users to enter their own personal comments. Another seller said the old feedback system had not been broken, adding, "There are so many serious problems on the eBay site that are in desperate need of change, and the feedback page wasn't on that list." Another eBay moderator responded to the sellers in the thread to say the company was working on gathering more information about the process and possible opt-out options, and would update the thread once they had more details. On Saturday, some sellers reported being unable, to leave feedback at all. It's unclear if eBay consulted with any of its buyers and sellers prior to making the change to the feedback flow, and failure to announce the changes to the feedback flow was clearly troubling sellers. So you would think that eBay would change something like feedback. You think they would at least alert us to that, right? So I don't know how you people feel about feedback. I do it probably incorrectly, but that's the way I like to do it. I like to kind of wait till I get feedback from my buyers, and then I respond with feedback. Other resellers say it's better to leave automatic feedback. And I do like the canned responses. I mean, I have typical, I have like A+++ buyer, thank you for the, purchasing something from you, or thank you for the transaction. But so obviously with them changing the feedback portion and not telling anybody, it was kind of a big snafu. Anyway, Mike, Flipping Goodies, thank you for stopping in. Mike, Guys, if you're not subscribed to Mike's channel, Flipping Goodies, please consider doing so. And Mike has, I believe, I could be screwing up your title of your show, but the worst damn reseller show, whatever, that's on Sunday evenings on Mike's channel. So, and also good to see you, John, Bama Picking and Grutting. I hope you're doing well. And John, I heard you say in Johnny's chat you might be going out to Cincinnati. I guess you're gonna stop by John Cincinnati Pickers Warehouse and maybe pick things up. So that would be advantageous, I'm sure, for you. I'm going to see what Jules has to say here. We're going to pop it on the screen, make it a little easier for him to read. Usually getting ready for your auction with Rachel at 9 p.m. every Wednesday, but try to pop in after a few minutes. I appreciate that, Jules. So that would be great. Donatella Bonalino. Hey, Donatella's in the chat. Donatella, I was thinking about you the other day. I was thinking about going over to Philadelphia, and I was thinking about how you were in Philadelphia during the pandemic. And, I guess my channel isn't monetized, so I could probably talk about the pandemic, so it was not going to affect me. But I wasn't boosted at that time. And believe me, folks, it's not political. Please don't take that as a political comment. I try to keep politics and religion and out of my reselling business. But anyway, you guys do have some health issues, so I have to be very careful. So hopefully, I was actually going to reach out to you, Donatello, to see if you're ever going to be back up in the area. And one of these days, I will probably stop down to Florida, but with this heat, it's been unbearable, even in New Jersey. I mean, the other day, my bedroom didn't cool down till like about 5 o'clock in the morning. I think it only got down to like 90. Today was a godsend. It only got up to 90 instead of 98. So anyway, I appreciate you popping in the chat, Donatello. I know you are super busy, so I appreciate you being here. Oh, we want to review that. Okay, there we go. All right, guys, so we have a few more articles, and, I'm going to pop this link in the chat now while I'm thinking about it. I know most of you probably aren't ready or you weren't expecting to pop in a show, but if you want to pop in and talk about reselling, I know occasionally that happens. I popped the link in the chat, and if you're sitting at your e-commerce desk or your listing, you want to take a few-minute break, and you can pop in and talk about reselling, that would be great. I'm going to pop the StreamYard link in the chat now, and it's relatively easy to do, so I pop that in the chat now. So I have a couple more articles I want to talk about, and actually I believe this next one is something that Randy actually made me aware of, so I want to discuss this with you guys, especially since we're going into Q4. Okay, USPS plans to slash 50,000 positions in coming years to reach break-even point. The U.S. Postal Service is planning to shed 50,000 positions from its roles over the next several years as part of Postmaster General Louis DeJoy's plan to cut the agency's financial losses, that will rely on natural attrition to make the cuts. USPS will remain in a hiring posture in the coming years, DeJoy said at an American Enterprise Institute event in Washington on Wednesday evening, as the net reductions represent only 1/4 of the attrition the agency expects to see over a similar period. The Postmaster General had not previously outlined his final vision for the impact his 10-year business plan would have on the size of the workforce, speculating last year he might spearhead a net growth. Right now, to get to break even, I think we need to get to 50,000 people out of the organization, DeJoy said. But that's okay, because over the next 2 years, 200,000 people will leave the organization for retirement. The reduction would reverse a trend in recent years in which the USPS workforce has remained steady or grown slightly. The Postal Service ended 2021 with nearly 517,000 carrier employees, its highest total since 2012. The non-carrier workforce has remained fairly steady in recent years at 136,000. Part of the growth was due to a concerted effort under DeJoy to convert tens of thousands of non-carrier workers who earn less money and fewer benefits into career roles to reduce the high rates of attrition USPS has experienced. The agency has cut more than 200,000 positions since its peak around the turn of the century, but the total has largely stabilized in recent years. When DeJoy first took office, the Postmaster General led an effort to slash tens of thousands of non-union jobs by offering early retirement incentives and layoffs as part of a reorganization of its management structure. He subsequently said that he might have to add 100,000 employees to support the Postal Service's growing package business, aka the business that we need to have proper services, USPS is in the process of implementing another part of DeJoy's vision as it consolidates facilities and reduces its physical footprints. He pledged to get rid of 150 annex plants, and the agency is in the process of building mega centers that he said will reduce redundant operations and transportation. Outside the annexes, DeJoy said he does not envision mass closures, but instead reshaping the network so each piece of mail flows in a more logical fashion and does not have to take as many trips before reaching its final destinations. As it implements these changes, the Postal Service is also gearing up for its role in 2022 midterms. It has already helped deliver ballots for 42 primaries, runoffs, and special elections this year, postal officials told reporters on Thursday, and is seeing nearly a 200% increase in volume compared to that point of the 2018 midterm season, has delivered 99.5% of the completed ballots from voters back to elections officials within 3 days, making an improvement of 97.9%, and yada, yada, yada. We don't need to talk about the politics, try not to talk about politics on this channel. Let me just scroll through this a little bit more here. We'll go past the politics section. With many states and jurisdictions have sought to place restrictions on mail-in voting, often citing false claims of voter fraud, DeJoy sought to quash any reservations about the system. I know election mail is safe, he said, and I'll continue to be safe because we pay a lot of attention to it. Okay, guys, the reason I wanted to bring that up is because we're rolling into Q4, and I told you guys, I mentioned earlier, I talked to Randy offline, and he, two of the worst postal centers, I guess, so to speak, are in the Philadelphia region and also in the Allentown region where Randy is. So, you know, they're not really laying off people, but they're not going to rehire as many people as they have had. So they're basically reducing the workforce by 200,000 people. So apparently at the turn of the century, there was quite a few more postal employees. They're trying to reduce the payroll and reduce services. And you know, they had discussed about, well, actually discussed, they implemented not shipping first class packages via air. They're ground only, so that kind of slowed things down, and then things have gotten lost. So it can be obviously be an issue with the USPS. So I mentioned before, and I don't do huge volumes like Randy does or some of the other sellers in the group, in the chat, so to speak. But you might want to consider using other services. Good point, Randy. Why don't they cut the discounts to extend the age? Okay. Randy and I were talking about that the other day. You know, about how Randy, I'm sure I'll screw up the numbers you had told me, but I think Randy was telling me that they can ship something from Asia for like 50 some cents to the United States, and here it would cost us over $3 to ship that same package across country. So that's kind of insane. So. I used to work for a manager when I was working retail, and he says it is what it is. So I don't know if we're going to change the world, but that is kind of insane that you know, people that are selling, say, on Amazon or whatnot, can not the platform whatnot can ship overseas from China for, you know, 50 some cents, and it costs us $3 and change to ship just across country. So that is a little crazy, folks. Again, I'm going to pop that link in the chat if anyone wants to join me. I only have a few more articles to discuss. So if you want to pop in the chat and we just you know, chit-chat about reselling a little bit. I just want to bring a few more things up to your attention with us rolling into Q4. Okay, I had discussed this before when I had another news show, and this is basically how the e-commerce platforms are driving revenue by charging ads, you know, promoted listings and off-site ads, et cetera, et cetera. Q2 outlook, e-commerce platforms turn to ad revenue for growth. Well, it's that time of year again, halfway earnings calls time that is. Dire warnings from Walmart and mass layoffs at Shopify dominated the first few rounds of calls, but marketplaces like eBay, Etsy, and Amazon were among those that outperformed analyst projections in Q2, due in part to third-party sales and ad spending. There was a lot of concern on the e-commerce side because we saw some pretty weak numbers coming out of Target and Walmart. They're cutting guidance. They're also noting slower consumer spending, said Arun Sundaram, Vice President of Equity Research at CFRA. Walmart stock tumbled in July after the retailer cut its profit outlook for the rest of the year, and Target, which is expected to announce Q2 results later this month, warned that dealing with excess supply would mean a short-term hit to profits. We thought a lot of that would trickle in and impact Amazon, but we were actually kind of pleasantly surprised with Amazon's earning, Sundaram said. They don't seem to be as impacted by some of these macro factors. Amazon's third-party sales are an important data point, Sundaram said. While the first-party sales inventory owned by Amazon dropped, revenue from third-party sellers increased by over 9%. That's partly because of fuel of inflation and surcharges for sellers. Amazon implemented it back in April, he explained, but that doesn't mean third-party sellers were still winners in Q2. Even excluding that, I think the third-party businesses are doing a little bit better than the first-party businesses, he said. 57% of all goods sold were third-party. I was kind of surprised when I read that. 57% of all goods sold on Amazon were from third-party sellers. And it's actually the highest in Amazon history, he explained. The increase in third-party sales was also good for Amazon's ad services, which was partly responsible for the platform's overall revenue growth, because those sellers tend to be ad purchasers, he added. Elsewhere in e-commerce land, while Etsy reported a small decline in gross merchandise sales, it posted 10% year-over-year revenue growth overall, plus around 6 million new customers. Again, that's Etsy posted 6 million new customers. The platform execs attributed part of the growth to ad revenue. Etsy ads revenue has grown by 516% over the last 5 years, CEO Josh Silverman said on Q2 earnings call. eBay reported a dip in online sales, but surpassed overall revenue expectations, in part thanks to advertising services. eBay's first-party ads grew 2%, the company said. We're seeing marketplaces outperform expectations because brands are looking for alternatives to paid media, said Kurt Elster, whose agency Ethercycle works with Shopify merchants to increase ROI. Marketplaces are a low-risk way to reach new audiences and drive up brand impressions. So like I had said before, eBay and some of these other platforms, their sales are actually down. Their customer count is down. Transactions are down, but their revenue is up because they're charging us resellers and third-party people on Amazon. They're charging them for advertising, promoting their products. So it's just silly that they're charging the smaller sellers, and they act like they're trying to help the smaller sellers, but in the meantime they're actually making money off them by charging them for advertising. And like I said a little earlier, 57% of the sales on Amazon were from third-party sellers. That really surprised me. I was really surprised to see that. See what Randy has to say about liquidation. Randy, it's funny you said that. I was going to bring up about liquidation. Yeah, because right, like I said, I mentioned in the article, Randy. Thank you for paying attention to what I'm talking about. You're probably one of the few people that is. But anyway, yeah, there's overstock, and again, Randy had told me about the overstock issues with some of the supply chain issues being solved. That a lot of these resellers are having issues with excess inventory, and they're selling these lots off in bulk. Randy says pallets of liquidation new items are going for $125 average when they used to go for over $600 average. Well, Randy, I don't have the opportunity to take deliveries here. I share with you guys some personal information. I live in a row house, so I don't have like a regular driveway. I have a common drive behind my house, so I couldn't take that. But I'm going to mention again, when I do eventually move down to Delaware, I'm going to make sure I have access to a driveway so I can get deliveries. So I do want to get involved in some purchasing some wholesale and buying some pallets and doing that type of business. I just think it's so much easier to source that way. I was talking with a friend of mine earlier today, about just I mentioned here before when we're talking about sourcing and going out, with the price of gasoline, and you try to source when you go out sourcing. Maybe you want to hit a couple places when you're out sourcing, then you want to go to the pharmacy or to the bank or the supermarket, but try to make a route so you can kind of incorporate when you're out running your normal errands, so you can incorporate your sourcing to save money. It was just so darn hot here recently, and I have an SUV due to my size. Basically, I have difficulty getting out of a smaller car, so I have to have an SUV. And with running the air conditioning, I'm getting like 14 miles to the gallon. This is not a newer, it's a newer car, I should say, a newer SUV. But 14 miles to the gallon, that's craziness. But I need a larger car, so an SUV. So we'll mention that is what it is, the sign again. So Anyway, guys, I know some of you are very busy, but if you want to pop in a chat, the back in the green room, want to talk about reselling, I'm going to pop that in there one more time. I believe I just have a couple more articles to share with you at this point. I could, Michelle, but Michelle says, can I get to a storage unit? Absolutely, but I don't want to run a storage unit. My goal is when I do eventually move, I'm keeping my fingers crossed that all this things that are going on with the world is going to die down some, and I'm going to have to bring people in to help me kind of declutter and straighten things up. And then when I do move down to Delaware, I'm going to make sure that I get a garage and also get a basement. So that way. And the thing is with these delivery services, that they ask you too, can you get on street delivery, and then do you have a pallet jack? So I mean, I know some people have them delivered to warehouses because then you have to have a lift gate. That's an additional charge. But I did get the SUV, and I'm probably not going to get a trailer hitch, but that's something I might want to consider depending upon how involved I get in with liquidation. I could probably get a trailer hitch put on my SUV and get a small trailer, and possibly pick things up at the local warehouses, and then drive them back to my house as opposed to paying for delivery. So anyway, that was one of the questions, Randy. I might as well bring that up at this point. I wanted to say if anyone is buying wholesale lots. Also, another thing I was interested in, I know I didn't get a chance to watch it. I had forgotten that Casey Rockstar Flipper had his first Whatnot auction last night. And for those of you that are subscribed to Casey, or even if you're not subscribed to Casey, you might want to check out. He did a video. I was trying to set up for the show. I didn't get a chance to watch the video, but I did get the email that he had. I knew he had his Whatnot auction. And he kind of had like mixed reviews about Whatnot. So I was just curious if a lot of you are getting involved in Whatnot. It seems like a lot of you are actually doing YouTube auctions and sales as opposed to getting involved in Whatnot. So I'm just curious if any of you are getting involved in Whatnot and what your experience has been. So anyway, I don't think I would do that because, like I said, I have difficulty sourcing and getting things that are relatively saleable, so to speak, at a good price. And I can make a decent amount of money on it. So I wouldn't want to kind of sell them for 30-40% less. At least that's been my kind of my feelings. It seems like people are liquidating things that maybe aren't very saleable, or they're selling things that are saleable and they're kind of taking like a hit. So Randy's calling it not. Okay, Randy. I guess we know your opinion about Whatnot. All right. All right, guys. Again, I did post that link in the chat for StreamYard, so if anybody wants to pop in the chat and talk about reselling, I just have a couple more articles to talk about. I'm going to mute myself for 1 minute here, guys. I have a little bit of an issue here with my allergies for 1 second here. Going to mute myself here. Okay. Michelle, you've had three sales on Whatnot. We see you have 3 sales. So you run 3 sales on Whatnot? That's what I'm assuming. Okay, that's great. Congratulations. So apparently Michelle is a fan of Whatnot. Okay. Let me get to my next article here. I was talking about Q4. So for those of you that have any kind of pretty much anything, Q4 is right around the corner. We're at the 10th of August, so before you know, it's going to be September. So you'll be rolling into Q4. So obviously you want to have your inventory listed by September for Q4. So keep that in mind. Like I said, set goals for yourself. If you want to write down somewhere your goals and monitor them, and mark what you've listed or what your goals are listing, and keep track of that. That might be a way for you to keep yourself accountable. There are some, I'm not aware of the specific ones, but there are some listing groups out there where you can get involved with other resellers. My issue with is some of these YouTube listing things, you can do it on Zoom as well, but see, if you're on YouTube, then you're kind of like you're chatting with the chat, and you're not really listing, you're kind of paying attention to the chat. But I know some of them, they have 3 or 4 people involved in it, and one person will monitor the chat for a little bit, and then the other person will monitor the chat. But anyway, it's an opportunity if you want to get involved in some listing accountability groups. That would help too as well. Okay, and get a little sip here and get a little dry mouth. This is, oh guys, just this is a, you know, as a frugal person, this is something you might want to consider. I got this, not saying this particular brand, but if any of you and Randy and I have talked about this, the grocery outlet, basically liquidation groceries. I mean, they have some, you know, commodities there, but they have some really good deals there. So if you have a grocery outlet area, you might want to check it out. I'm probably going to head out there tomorrow and pick up some groceries, and it's near one of my gym locations, so I can hit the gym on the way back, and it's also near my Sam's, so I can do that as well. Okay, I'm gonna have a little sip of this. I'm talking and you have my sip. Okay, Etsy and Walmart let the holiday season planning commence. It's not too late to start selling on Walmart.com before the holidays. Walmart advised merchants today and cited research from eMarketer predicting 15.5% growth in online holiday sales this year. Etsy also issued a holiday season message for sellers, with both online marketplace publishing a list of key dates related to holiday shopping and seller preparation. A notable event on Etsy's calendar, it will hold a Labor Day and September sales event from August 31st to September 6th. Etsy also reminded sellers who might be planning to travel for the holidays that they could download the Etsy Seller app for iOS or Android, so you can manage your shop efficiently from anywhere. Well, that's all well and good. This is my commentary on this article, but you can manage it, but if you don't have the inventory with you, you can't ship. So that's an issue if you're traveling for the holidays. So, I mean, obviously, you put your store on hold or vacation or whatever, and so you got to make yourself familiar with that. I know some sellers have had issues. I think it was Beth, Reseller Rowboat, that was talking about some of the issues she had with adjusting her handling time. Oh, excuse me, guys. My allergies are driving me crazy here today. Okay. So anyway, so I said Etsy reminded sellers that they could use the Etsy Seller app on iOS or Android. In addition to listing holidays, Etsy went further, breaking the shopping season into distinct periods based on last year's shopping data. Halloween traffic picks up August 1st and peaks on October 3rd, tapers off on October 31st. Advent traffic picks up September 15th, peaks October 15th, and tapers off December 25th. Thanksgiving traffic picks up September 1st, peaks November 4th, and tapers off November 28th. Christmas Day traffic picks up September 1st. Again, guys, get your stuff listed by September. So traffic picks up September 1st, peaks November 28th, and tapers off January 2nd. For those of you that are watching from the United Kingdom, Christmas Jumper Day. Traffic picks up October 1st, peaks December 5th, and tapers off December 25th. Hanukkah traffic picks up October 10th, peaks November 9th, and tapers off December 10th. Etsy appeared to be messaging existing sellers, while Walmart's message was geared to attracting new merchants to its marketplace. It listed fees in popular categories and encouraged them to use its fulfillment service. So Mike, who's in the chat, Flipping Goodies, and Randy both use Walmart, and they also use Walmart fulfillment services. So if you want to learn about Walmart and shipping with Walmart and setting up Walmart's site, you can you can watch Mike Flipping Goodies videos, and you can also probably contact Mike. I'm sure he'd be glad to help you. Okay, and at the end of this thing, it says, not surprisingly, both marketplaces suggested sellers set up advertising campaigns to attract holiday shoppers. Again, back to the advertising revenue. Here's an issue with Amazon. Amazon gets caught with its hands in USPS cookie jar. Amazon began collecting higher USPS rates a week before the rates were set to take effect, and said it got around to refunding sellers 3 weeks later. The overcharging incident appears to have been a deliberate decision, not a glitch, which would have been a violation of a USPS policy. One seller referred to the incident a thread on the seller discussion boards as Amazon having gotten caught in the cookie jar again. On July 7th, an Amazon moderator told sellers that it implemented the rate change early due to the relative closest to Prime Day, which was July 12th and 13th, due to concerns that change could impact sellers' ability to use its buy shipping feature. But in a letter to sellers on August 2nd, it referred to the incident as an error. Last month, the USPS spokesman would not comment on the issue, instead referring to the Amazon PR office for any comment regarding the incident. But when pressed, USPS representative said it does not allow online postage providers to implement USPS postage hikes ahead of time. So I guess Amazon decided they don't have enough money. They're going to overcharge resellers. Going to start charging them in advance. Let me see what Jules has to say. I'm going to drop back in the chat and see some of your comments, guys. Appreciate you leaving comments in the chat. Jules says, I went all day last Friday sourcing at places a bit north of me. Okay. First in liquidations, Rachel used when she lived here. You found not at too expensive. Okay. Well, that can be. So anyway, what I'm a fan of, I'm a big about these old sayings, and it's funny. I was watching Johnny's auction earlier today, and he says you gotta be in it to win it. So I kind of feel like the same way with sourcing, with the price of gasoline and everything, like I was talking earlier. But sometimes you have to be out there. If you're not out there on a regular basis, I mean, things are coming through. You just kind of have to have a feeling as far as what thrift stores are better for you, and kind of go to on a regular basis, and maybe change the times. Maybe first thing in the morning it's things that were left over from the night before. Maybe typically they put things out at a certain time during the day. And I talk about, again, networking, becoming friendly with the managers and the employees. So maybe find out, maybe they put product out at certain different times. I mean, I've told you before, like Jamie Pace has friends with managers in different Goodwills, and they actually save things for him. I'm not saying that that's going to happen to me or you, but they actually save things for him and keep them in the back room and say, Jamie, we have some things for you to go through in the back room. We want you to look through them, if you're interested, before you put them out for sale. You have 4-day handling time on Etsy. Okay, that's great, Michelle. I keep myself to 1-day handling time on eBay. Again, I'm not shipping out tons and tons of product, but in my opinion, and again, for what it's worth, it's just my opinion. I think obviously everyone has different facilities. I know Michelle, sometimes you have problems with transportation, things like that. So you have to do what's best for you. But I think in general, pretty much a 1-day handling time is pretty good. I know some people do same-day handling time. I find that very difficult to do. So I did a 1-day. I think 1 day or 2 days is probably the best. But if you have issues with transportation, believe me, I understand it's difficult for you. Okay. All right. Randy says Amazon already overcharges sellers. Well, that could be very true, Randy. Okay, guys. This other article I wanted to bring up to your attention. It's just the reason I'm bringing this up, guys, is how can I explain this? More and more businesses are getting involved in selling used clothing. So I'm not a big fan of selling used clothing, but there's a huge market. I'm going to shout out my friend Beth, Reseller Robot, again. She does very, very well with reselling, used clothing, and she finds some new tag things too. But here's an article I found I wanted to share with you, just to make you aware of that. There's a market for used clothing. Helpsy Yourself, a used clothing collection company, opens an online store. One of the biggest new developments in retail over the last few years is, ironically enough, what it's not new, which is resale. And while every category seems to be riding the resale wave, from furniture to toys to sporting goods, where resale is white hot is for clothing. Resale site ThredUp raised $168 million in its 2021 IPO and has popularized the retail as a service RaaS model by partnering with 28 brands to launch resale programs including Adidas, Gap, and Target. In 2021, resale grew 58% year to year, according to the report by ThredUp and Global Data. Now, Helpsy, a used clothing collection company that began as a business-to-business wholesaler that sold to resale clothing shops, is throwing its own gently used hat into the ring. Today it opened Helpsy Shop, an online store and mobile app with men's and women's clothing and shoes. The store will open with about 50,000 items and add about 10,000 more weekly. With a little Helpsy from my friends, Helpsy began in 2017 when 3 friends, Alex Husted, Dan Green, and Dave Milner, bought a New Jersey clothing collection company, Garden State Wiper, and subsequently bought 7 more related businesses, most of them in the Northeast, which collectively now form Helpsy. Helpsy Collect, its clothing collection network, has more than 1,300 collection bins to drop off any clothing that no longer sparks joy. The company also says it operates 200 clothing drives annually and presently has contracts for curbside clothing pickup programs with 26 municipalities, including Boston. Being Green, Helpsy is certified B Corp with a state environmental mission of keeping clothing out of landfills and of supporting the charities and municipalities it partners with, and pays in an effort like clothing drives, curbside collection, and placement of collection bins. In 2021, Helpsy said it diverted 29 million pounds of clothing, shoes, and other items from landfills. That year, it also paid more than $400,000 to partner charities and to municipalities for collecting the clothing they had for clothing they had helped collect. Helpsy originally sold all of its clothes it collected to other businesses who either resell it as clothing or for damaged or otherwise unsellable clothing, recycle it into products like shop rags. But in early 2021, it began selling online, listing more than 1 million items on resale sites, including Poshmark, Etsy, and Depop. All right, guys. So again, I posted in the chat to see if any of you want to pop in to the stream. That's the end of my news portion of the show, so to speak. So if anyone want to pop in, you can do so. Just discuss reselling a little bit, and maybe share your experiences with what you're doing with your reselling business. If you have had any good experience or any bad experiences, there's a lot of videos out there, and like I tell you folks before, if I don't have somebody scheduled, I have been reaching out to several people, and this time of year it's difficult with people going on vacations, et cetera, et cetera. It's kind of difficult to have people come on the show. So anyway, hey Glenn, thanks for popping in. You don't want to scare me. What did you say, Jules? Okay. About sourcing. Okay. Good to see you, Glenn. Thanks for stopping by. So if anyone you want to pop in the chat, that would be great. We could just talk about reselling, what your experience has been. There's a lot of videos out there, and people talking about scammers and different things, and talking about their sales and talking about sourcing and ride-alongs. Oh, one thing I did make a note, and I tell you guys I'm ADD, and sometimes I forget to say things unless it's on my sheet. Oh, if you came on StreamYard, okay, Jules, you're more than welcome. I don't claim to be super handsome, but I got a nice polo shirt on anyway, so and I did shave. So, and I got a haircut in, and I got trimmed my facial hair last week for. That's why I wanted to bring that up. Excuse me. For those of you that watched last week's show, I know Gino was kind of struggling a little bit. He has emphysema, and I just want to make you guys aware that he is doing a lot better. Apparently, he gets flare-ups from emphysema, and they last typically for 4 or 5 days. This particular one lasted longer than normal, but anyway, he's doing better. So I figured I wanted to pass it along to you. And if you didn't watch that show, please consider watching that show. Gina brought a lot of good information, and his thrifting partner Ann was interesting as well. Another. See, Jules saying here, there's another site that's been around about 3 years. Is Swap. Okay, yeah. Apparently, a lot of these retailers. I read that actually in a retail newsletter. I subscribe to about 3 or 4 different newsletters related to reselling, and I tell you folks, I try to monitor some of the other reselling channels and Facebook groups. You get stuck in that vortex and on Facebook, and it's difficult. I just pretty much use Facebook to share my information about my show, and I do play a couple games on Facebook to kind of pass the time, but I try to get not hooked into that Facebook vortex, and that social media can suck you in, and then you can't get things done you want to get done around the house, and whatever reselling or cleaning or whatever you have to do, running errands. So anyway, so does anyone want to pop in the chat? If not, I just want to talk about a couple other things, and I'll read this announcement, and then if anyone wants to join me, if not, we'll call it a night. So anyway, guys, like I said before, as you know, I'm not monetized on this channel. It is what it is, so to speak. But I do have buy me a cup of coffee. So if you're getting value from my channel, please consider possibly buying me a cup of coffee. I have PayPal. I also have Cash App. In addition, I've been talking about Randy throughout the show, and Randy has a really neat business where he sells old-fashioned candies that you find like in the supermarkets and some of these stores. And Randy's is quite a bit more reasonable, and he has a very good selection. He also has gourmet coffees and teas, and he sells spices as well. So Randy is kind enough to pay me a small commission at no cost to you guys. So if you register on Randy's site and you want to buy some old-fashioned candy, I guess is difficult, especially chocolate candies this time of year. But anyway, if you want to buy some candies or spices or coffees, gourmet coffees, they're delicious. You register on Randy's site, and that's in the description section of the video, just phase6.com, and just put AE for AdamsExploits next to your name. So anyway, it doesn't look like anyone wants to pop into the chat, so just want to thank all of you for your time, and I always say your time is your most valuable asset, so I want to thank those of you that are here joining live and watching the replay. Would appreciate you guys popping in. And what's Jules saying here? Jules, I have over 1,000 subs, but you have to have 4,000 watch hours to be monetized on YouTube, and it's got to be like a rolling 4,000 watch hours. So my goal is to start doing some. I'll share that with you guys. Start doing some more recorded content. I purchased a video editing program. It's a little confusing, so I'm going to kind of reach out to some of my YouTube friends and see if they can kind of help me out a little bit with the editing portion. Yeah, Jules, I have a playlist. If you want to click on that, you can run the playlist. Reselling Rhythms. At one point, I was called my channel Reselling Rhythms. I thought it was a nice play on words, but anyway, I have a playlist. So you just click on that and it'll autoplay, and I put all my reselling videos in that playlist. So you click on that, it'll just run. Just a reminder, Jules, if I know you're in Johnny's chat, Cajun Roots Reseller, keep in mind that you have to have the volume up a little bit. You can't mute your volume, because if you mute your volume, then you don't get any, I should say I wouldn't get any credit for when you play that playlist. So anyway, guys, appreciate you all being here, and I should have somebody on next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up before you leave, like, and subscribe. See you next week, folks. Take care now.